your worst sin is that you destroyed and betrayed yourself all for nothing. And that Dostoevsky quote basically tells me I need to be genuine. And what I take from that is that I it tells me verbatim, paraphrasing, that I've sold myself out for literally nothing, and it's what I've wanted. That's what I chose. I chose to sell myself out for nothing. I've destroyed everything about myself in the hope of conformity, in the hope of being invisible in society, and that leaves us so unfulfilled. We Everyone's so invisible. No one gets seen, and some people like it that way. But most people don't. People like being seen. People like being heard. People like being noticed. People like feeling like a person, not a number. And I think that's what leads us to being so lonely and unfulfilled. It's the fact that we're not being genuine. We're not living life as if it's our life. We're living life by the rules set by others, social, cultural standard, whatever that is. Uh, you need to be genuine. You need to love. You need to love everything passionately, as if it's your first day and your last day loving. What other life do you have? There's nothing else to do apart from love. Do everything with passion, I feel like. And I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways, in this day of conformity, in especially in this, I feel like in the UK nowadays, all you ever see is people wearing black. I hate it. It's such a depressing color. I used to wear a lot of it, and then I stopped because it's it's a sign of conformity. You're conforming to not standing out. I think when you live your life, your whole life should be a little subtle rebellion against that conformity, and that can be in a lot of ways. I personally I wore odd socks for like a couple of months straight. Well, and it doesn't get warm in the UK too much, but when I could wear shorts, I'd wear shorts with odd socks, and it wasn't a fashionable thing. But who cares? No one said anything. It's the fear of being excluded is greater than the reality of it. I got funny looks, funny questions. The conversations were funnier. Another thing about being genuine. You need to be genuine about conversations. I had this friend once that was reading all these psychology books about, you know, like 48 laws of power, some bullshit like that. It's like dark psychology books. I really hate those. But he was reading books about how to talk to people. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And I think learning a specific way of how to speak to people takes the authenticity of being a human out of it. You know, it's you when you script yourself and stick to a certain algorithm to speak to people. Well, that's not you speaking. You're just writing up a script. You're learning up a script. What connection will you make from the facade you've put on and this poor person now replying to this facade? You know, optimized for conversational wellness, whatever that is. It doesn't. You're doing an injustice to yourself and the other person. It's horrendous. You should stop. Um, it's the main reason why we feel lonely now. We're so lonely. We're reading books on how to speak to people. Speak to people. Be genuine. You need to be yourself. There's this great quote. It goes, "You need to be yourself so that people who are looking for you can find you." The more you make yourself into a different person, the more lonely you're gonna feel. You're not connecting with anyone. There's this brick wall of an algorithm between you and another person. You need to be you so people who are looking for you can find you. It's not, it's, it's such a simple yet such a beautiful notion. It's completely true. And whether you are being yourself now and you can't find anyone, it will happen eventually. I, in a way, started this because I want to find people that I like speaking to. I try to be genuine with all conversations in life now. And even if that requires it becoming awkward. Whenever my greatest advice, if a conversation becomes awkward, you immediately say, well, this is awkward. And then and then both parties start laughing. both people start laughing, and it's best way to not be awkward. You just make it a bad joke. We, it's this whole nonchalant, cool guy act, which ends up with people being lonely and not being able to connect, being on your phones or whatever. Like, when you when you actually completely yourself, you find that you find people, and even people that aren't even in your type of like someone that you wouldn't even speak to. If you're just yourself and that person is also being themselves, you end up talking. You end up talking like two human beings with different beliefs. You you can have that connection. And I feel like we're missing out on that because we're afraid. We're afraid. We're afraid to be genuine on ourselves. You know, it's ridiculous. We risk we risk embarrassment. We risk achieving everything with the safety and comfort of conformity. It's a it's such a bad gamble as well because you risk losing everything.